Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Waubonsee Community College's Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Steve Moga, and it is basketball season. We're in the thick of things with the conference schedules, both getting going for the men's and women's basketball teams. So on this show, we are going to talk basketball, and I'm starting out with the best of the best right here, the Hall of Famer, Dave Heiss. And Coach, thanks for stopping in and talk to us here. And I gotta, you won't toot your own horn, so I'll do it for you. 5 different Hall of Fames. 600, almost 625 wins, by the way. You're getting, maybe, I think you might have got it already now. But I had to go back and check those numbers. But certainly continuing to pile up the numbers. You've had some great success over here in 33 seasons. But every single team, I think, every year, I'm one of the few people I think who's probably seen every single one of your teams over those 33 seasons. And I think every single one of your teams is different. Different makeup, different types of players, different types of skills that come to the floor. You're always trying to work that and figure out some things. And this team is kind of hard to figure. It's a little up and down so far this year, isn't it?
Oh, without question. We're on a 2-game losing streak. We haven't taken care of the basketball. Been very sloppy with the ball, not valuing our possessions, and really just making some downright stupid passes within the realm of the basketball IQ. And you can't do that. I mean. Like last night, our kids played extremely hard, but we didn't take care of the basketball, and it cost us our ball game. We ended up, losing by 10. The other night up at Lake County, same thing. Our kids played hard and didn't take care of the basketball. We ended up losing by 3. So, first of all, they need to value the basketball. They need to value each possession. These are things we work on every day in practice. So it isn't, something that hasn't been rehearsed for these kids. They just need to they need to buy into it. And right now, we've got kids that aren't buying into what we're doing. Even though we had won 7 in a row, didn't come ready to play against Prairie State, and then we beat a very good Morton and a very good Bryan Stratton team on the road. And the system works if you buy into it and you execute it.
Well, it's a simple case of turnovers result in obviously way more opportunities for the opponent. And that's what's translated into some of these tough losses, close losses. You mentioned those games. I was actually going to go through those games with you real quick here. Since we last talked here on the show, since the holiday break, you came back, you played Aurora University's junior varsity and had another fantastic close game with them. You've beaten them. You hung on to win 84-81, and you beat them earlier also by 3 points at their place. So, a good matchup there, and a good, for you guys, it's always tough as a coach, I think, because your guys are looking at, we're just playing a JV team, and those kids in the JV squad are going, hey, this is our chance to impress. So they're playing all out. It's a tough situation.
Well, particularly with AU, because Lance really wants to win that ball game. So he's definitely bringing some kids that are getting varsity minutes in their varsity games, and it's a very important game to them on their schedule. So and you're right. I think the kids take the mindset that this is a step down because it's a junior varsity team. And I'm going to tell you what, some of these junior varsity programs that we play, they're better than the lower end teams in our conference and in our region. So you can't take that mindset. And we were able to pull out a victory. I mean, there were some moments there where we looked like we were going to pull away, and we let them back in the ball game.
DJ Deere had 21 points in that game, and as always, when you play Aurora U, they're going to shoot threes. They shot 38 three-pointer attempts in that game. That's more than you do in about 4 games combined.
Well, you're right.
Sometimes.
They live and die by that, and that's always been their philosophy for as long as I can remember. Don Howler, James Lancaster, and now Lance is carrying on that tradition. And you got to get out there and you got to defend the arc.
Speaking of defense, you guys went up to McHenry in your next game after that, and you really defended well, especially in the first half. Just 17 points for McHenry in that first half. You built yourself a lead and ended up winning by 15.
Well, in the first half, you mentioned 17 points. We were actually down 11-3 early in the ball game. So I think from like the 14-minute mark on, they only scored 6 points. But, the score was not a true indicator or reflection on how we played. I just didn't think we played well. We played down, didn't play with any energy. And you can't do that, particularly in conference play in any game. You got to come out with some energy.
One of the trademarks of your teams is always the balanced scoring. That game in particular, 17 for Darnell Wright, 14 for Demetrius Ewing, and 13 for DJ Deere.
Yeah, and I think we probably had a couple other guys that were at eight or 9 points too. So I think it's tougher for opponents just to key in on one or two guys when you have that type of balance, Steve.
You mentioned the Prairie State game then. That was on the 16th of January. That game got away from you. That's the best way to describe that game. It seemed like you had it in hand, and then all of a sudden they had a little run. Next thing you know, you're down by 14.
Well, I think, first of all, I don't think we came ready to play. And I think, we looked down and saw that Prairie State only brought 6 guys. We did not play exceptionally well. The first half, we were down by 1. Came out and scored the first 6 points. We go up 5. They responded, I think, with the next 6 points. And never lost a lead. And at one point, I think it was like 4 minutes and 45 seconds to go. We're down 18, and then we decided to play. Cut the lead 2-4 with the basketball with just a little over a minute to go.
And I know you don't like to count moral victories, but I felt like that showed some character of that team to be down by 18 and to come back and get within.
Well, yeah, you can look at it that way, but from a coach's perspective, why are we in that position?
Right.
So you should never put yourself in that position. I always tell the kids, before you put your shorts and lace your shoes up, if you're not ready to go mentally, you shouldn't be putting your uniform on. And we definitely weren't ready to go mentally. And as much as I'd like to take blame for that, I think that comes from our sophomore leadership, and that's kind of what I share with our sophomores after that game. Is your job to make sure everybody's ready to go.
Well, we've got to go right now. We've got to take a break here in Sports Spotlight. We'll come back and talk. We're going to talk some more Chiefs basketball with Dave Heiss. Stay with us. Welcome back, and a quick reminder, you get more information about Chiefs athletics by going online to www.waubonsie.edu/athletics. And Dave Heiss is here with me talking men's basketball. And Coach, we left off there. You had a game on January 16th, and you came back right on the 18th. You get in the conference season, those Tuesday, Thursday matchups, and you had maybe a moral victory, at least from my outsider's perspective, not from your perspective. Even though you lost that game to Prairie State, you come back 2 nights later and you had a similar situation with Morton down the stretch, and you did all the right things to win that game by 10.
Well, and it was Morton was leading the conference at that point. They were 3-0, and you're right. I thought, first of all, Steve, I thought we came out with a lot more energy, particularly on the defensive end, and really took them out of a lot of things they wanted to do. I mean, I was very impressed with the sets that they ran and the execution, and they didn't get it one way, they swung it back around. So our kids had to stay focused, and there was times where we forced them to take some tough shots with the shot clock winding down. So I mean, our kids had great resolve on the defensive end, and I think that transferred over on the offensive end. And I thought we had some good ball movement, we had some good balance, we had kids step up and make plays, and I thought we beat a very good quality team that night.
And you had one guy in particular really had a monster game. Darnell Wright he's been getting better and better as the season went along, but he really peaked in that game. 24 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. Seemed like he was involved in everything. And he's a big athletic kid. I mean, he really showed it that game, though.
Well, without question. He's a kid that he needs to understand where his bread and butter is, and that's around the basket. And there's times where he wants to drift and get out to the perimeter. And that's not where he does his damage. He does his damage right around the basket with his athleticism and his length and his quickness. And I think that game was a very good indicator of that. Most of his points were around the basket or in transition attacking the rim or offensive rebounds.
Well, 2 days after that, then you went up to Milwaukee to play Bryant Stratton College for the first time there. You played them here last year for the first time. There's just the second year of that school's existence. And they got some talent.
Yeah,
That was a pretty good game as well, but you guys pulled that one out.
Yeah, another quality win. A little disappointed. We had a stretch where with about 10, 11 minutes ago that we had built our lead up to 18, and they had slapped a little press on us that wasn't overly aggressive, and we just didn't do a very good job of handling that, and kind of lost our focus and our intensity, and had some sloppy turnovers, and we allowed them to cut into that lead, but they never got it below 7, and made some plays down the stretch and ended up beating them by 10.
Yeah, and again, right with a dozen rebounds, you out-rebound them by 10, and again, that's a key. You talk about the turnovers, that gives the other team opportunities. When you rebound, it gives you guys extra opportunities.
Without question. I mean, Steve, we've always had teams that were undersized, so we have to box out. And the so-called basketball analysts, they always talk about controlling the rebounding advantage. They talk about taking care of the basketball, and they talk about getting to the free throw line and getting your points from the inside, outside. Those are always things that we've always kind of stressed in our program also.
Well, we've got a couple guys that have done a pretty good job of that. Wright being one of them. I got to mention Jake Pike as well. He's been good and bad at times, but he still is averaging 7 rebounds a game, about 10 points a game. Darnell right now about 15 points per contest, 10, 11 rebounds right in that area. Both those guys give you kind of a little 1-2 punch in the inside.
Yeah, and Jake got us off to a great start up at Brian Stratton. I think he had 10 points at halftime. He was like 4 or 6 from the floor, and with him, it's confidence. If we can get him to drop his first couple baskets, usually that parlays into a pretty good night for him. But when he doesn't drop those first couple buckets, it becomes more of a confidence factor with him. And the big thing with Jake is he needs to understand. You know what? You could miss 2 in a row or 3 in a row, and you can come back and make 3 in a row. So you got to keep that even-keeled mindset. And he's definitely capable of doing those things. And he's been, for the most part, Steve, he's been Mr. Consistency and giving us what we needed.
Your last 2 games now, close losses at Lake County, a close loss as well at Moraine Valley. You've got Elgin coming up, and you'll have gone through the conference already. You'll have seen everybody one time. What's your take on conference, where things are at? You guys are kind of in the hunt. You're kind of in the middle right now at 2 and 3, but you can't afford too many more losses.
No, because now we're 2 games behind Moraine. Moraine's in first place, and everyone else has at least 2. McHenry hasn't won a game. Oakton's got 4 losses, and we've got 3 losses along with, I believe, Prairie State. So we got to take care of business. I think that we're capable of beating anybody on when we come and do the little things that we need to do. The last 2 games that we've lost, we haven't taken care of the basketball. That has hurt us tremendously. Our shot selection hasn't been really good, and we haven't made smart basketball decisions down the stretch, and that has hurt us. I mean, we were up 2 late in the game up at Lake County. The score was tied with 33 seconds to go. There was some miscommunication defensively. They have a sideline out of bounds. Our kid positions himself in the wrong place. Their best player breaks to the basket, catches the ball. Our guy's trailing him. He thought he had help at the basket. 3-point play. Now we're down 3 with 30 seconds to go. So it's those type of plays we have to eliminate, in the careless turnovers. I mean, we're physically just throwing it right to the defender's hands and not using any type of ball fakes or any of those things. And you're not going to win a lot of ball games, particularly against quality teams, doing that.
No, certainly can't force it in there. You got to make things happen, but you can't force it. But Coach, we're going to have to take a break. I appreciate you coming in and talking men's basketball. Hopefully you can continue to kind of turn that around. Like you say, you're right in the thick of it, maybe 2 and 3, and get another 7-game winning streak, and we'll be talking a lot, have a much happier conversation.
We're capable of it. It's not, like I said, I think we kind of control our own destiny. I mean, when we play like we're capable of playing, I think, we're probably up there with the top teams in the conference. It's just when we get sloppy and don't take care of the basketball. We've seen the results of that the last 2 games.
We've got to take care of a break right now. We've got to go take a break. So when we come back, we're going to have Jim Williams, head basketball coach for the women's team, along with his top player, Mo Kempiak. So stay with us.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
I mean, like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you,
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Once again, back here on Sports Spotlight, and another reminder: you can get more information on athletics by going to region4sports.com, and that's the region numeral number 4 sports.com. And joining me now is women's head basketball coach Jim Williams in his inaugural season, and his star player Mo Kempiak. Mozelle, thank you for stopping in. And first of all, you guys. You've had a nice little run here so far. A record now 11-9 overall, but you're 4-1 in the conference, just a half game behind McHenry, and you're almost all the way through the conference schedule. We've basically seen just about everybody. Coach, give me your overall thoughts that first time through the conference, and how you think things are going to go here down the stretch. I mean, again, you're in a great position, just 1.5 game back.
Well, we're playing much better. We're playing more as a team. We're scoring a little bit more than we started out midway through the year. And, you know, with the addition of, I think, Candace Jones and some of the freshmen really starting to develop and knock down some shots, we're really coming along real nice.
Well, it takes pressure off somebody to not have to do all the scoring and rebounding, but you certainly have done a phenomenal job of that. We got to mention, folks, Mo Kempiak is, well, the double-double diva. That's the best way to describe her. In her Waubonsie career now, 39 double-doubles in points and rebounds in 50 games, career games played, 16 of 20 games this season, 23 of 30 last year, and you actually had a stretch of 15 games. I know you probably don't keep track of this stuff. You're just out there playing. That's the best part about being a player. You don't think about all that stuff, but my job is to keep track of these things. 15 straight games of a double-double last season, from the beginning of December to the beginning of February. There was one game in there where you didn't get double digits in points, and then you finished the season with 5 more. So that was literally 20 out of the last 21 games, and then 8 out of 9 of the first 9 games this season you had a double-double. You know, you're making it look easy. Obviously, that's not the case, is it?
No, I just take it each quarter at a time, and I just know if I'm not scoring, I need to do better on defense, and rebounding is one thing that I really focus on, I guess.
You've done a phenomenal job of doing that, and again, you mentioned having a Candace Jones, having a Kayla Battle to help in the rebounding area, take some of the pressure off her, Mo, and doesn't allow teams to double team her either as well.
Absolutely, and you know, having shooters around like Haley Farron, Emily Uplegger, and of course Lauren Goff has really helped take the pressure off of Mo as well, especially lately.
Now, Mo, you came from a small high school, Serena High School, and the Little 10 Conference. The level of competition obviously not quite the same as here. What was your biggest adjustment, though, as far as going from high school and coming here to Waubonsie playing the junior college level?
I don't think it was really a big adjustment, but just like our level of playing, the shot clock was obviously a lot different. I never had that, and it wasn't that big of a change really, though.
Well, you certainly have adjusted. There was a little growing pains early on your first few games, and then you've just taken off since then. And I would imagine, the shot clock to me would be a huge thing. Coach, you were obviously with the program last year. You've gotten to see her game progress. You got to see her mature as a player and a person off the court. I mean, what do you think has been the key to that?
Well, I think one thing, especially with Mo in the beginning, is she didn't realize how good she was. So she's really gained a lot of confidence, and rebounding has certainly helped in that category. And just seeing some of the things that she could do now compared to even 2 summers ago has just progressed tremendously.
Confidence, definitely. You can see it in your play. The level of confidence has grown. Should mention, folks, she averages just about 14 points a game right now this season, and 11.1 rebounds, which puts her in the top 25 among Division II junior college players in the country. And Mo, what do you feel like is your strength? I mean, obviously, we're talking about all these rebounding numbers and the fact that you can score and that, but is there something that in your game in particular that you feel like, hey, when you walk on the court, you guys got to try and stop me from doing? Put you on the spot there.
I would say more or less it's probably her ability to knock down the outside shot, and then once they come out on her, then she has the ability to put the ball on the floor and take it to the hole. And she's really, once she starts to believe in her outside shot, her ability to drive the ball is even going to open up even more.
Well, that is one of the things, your versatility as far as handling the ball and being able to take the bigger girls that try and guard you. You can take them off the dribble. I've seen that more than a few times. It's been fun to watch that. Now, it's always good to have some good players around you, but I got to let you give a shout out here to a couple of your teammates, Alexis Van Wy and Lauren Goff. The three of you all three of you were all conference last year, and you kind of really developed and grew together last year. Now this year, you just picked up right where you left off. Tell us a little bit about each one of those two.
Lauren is like one of my best friends. I have a lot of confidence in her. I know if I pass her the ball, she'll like do what she knows what she needs to do with it. And Alexis, she has a really good outside shot, and she's gotten a lot better too. And I think that playing with them, it makes it easier because of how much we like believe in each other, I guess, and it just helps a lot.
And the familiarity with each other makes his job a little easier as well. But we actually got to take a break, and I want to hear more about that when we come back. And we're going to talk again some more Chiefs basketball with Coach Williams and Mo Kempiak after these messages. So stay with us.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Once again, back here on Sports Spotlight, and you can get information about the Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference that Waubonsee is a member of by going to illinoisskyway.org, and also you can get information nationally for the NJCAA. That's also njcaa.org. Go to those websites, check them out. Check out about these guys right here. I got Jim Williams and Mo Kempiak. You can see the stats there and the schedule the Chiefs have played, and you played a tough non-conference schedule on purpose, as usual,
Right.
to get you into the conference play. Now, again, you've gone through this first half of this conference, and obviously McHenry seems to be the team to beat, but there's always that chance of a stumbling block. Who else do you see as, obviously, you guys are right there in a second, but who else do you see as being a team that could
Well,
threaten?
definitely Moraine Valley is very talented. She has they have three 20-point scorers, basically. Prairie State is also a very sound, fundamental team, and they have a 20-point scorer on their team as well. That's, a challenge for us.
I was going to mention that one of your early games here after the break was Prairie State here at home. That was a game you rallied to come back and win. They only scored 3 points in the third quarter for you to kind of take control of that game. Mo, of course, had a double-double in that game. You got to mention that. By the way, did you know you're high in rebounds? You can impress all your friends and folks at home. Her high in rebounds was 20 in one game. That was against Elgin, who was the Chiefs' next opponent, by the way. But that was a year ago in 2017. So hopefully you can pull down 20 more boards in that game. But the Morton game was another one that you kind of pulled away in that third quarter. That seems to be your magic quarter. It seems like quite often for your team.
It wasn't at the beginning of the year. Third quarter was our nemesis. So we've tried to focus on that a little bit more. And even the beginning of games now, we sort of come out in a lull, and we're trying to focus on that a little better, especially the first and third quarters, to really take away the momentum of the other team.
Well, you outscored the Panthers 29-16 in the third quarter in that game you played here in Erickson Hall to win that game by 12 points. You outscored them in the third quarter. I mean, what exactly is he saying at halftime that's getting you guys so fired up to come out in that third quarter?
He just really encourages us, I guess.
This guy's encouraging. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Believing in themselves is one thing that we always talk about.
Well, I got to keep moving along here. You ran into a juggernaut then at Bryant and Stratton. First time you've ever gone up there to play them and their court. What was that like?
Well, they're extremely talented, extremely fast group of kids, and they have a couple big girls inside that can bang with you as well. So we had too many turnovers that game, and we gave up too many offensive rebounds. So if we keep focusing on that throughout the year and each game, take one game at a time, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, 26 offensive rebounds for Brian and Stratton for the Bobcats in that game. The one bright spot, of course, for your team was the young lady sitting next to you, 15 points, 8 rebounds in that game. But then you bounced back after that game, and you've had some other a couple conference games. And I got to talk to you in particular about your victory recently against Moraine Valley. That was obviously a big win, and it's being at Moraine Valley as well. But 90 points you put up in that game.
Yeah, we knew their numbers are down a little bit. They only play 7 girls. And we tried to take away their driving ability. They have 3 pretty good slashers that can go to the hole really nice. And we really focused on that, and our help side defense was really, really good. And then keeping them away from second chance points was another focus that we did. And they really stuck to the game plan all game. And it was really one of the first games that they really just knocked down shot after shot after shot because they were open, and they did a good job of hitting the open person.
I got to talk a little bit about the McHenry game. I know you don't want to talk about
Yeah.
that. That was a 69-52 loss at their place, but again, they're going to have to come here. But again, a double-double for Mo in that game, 14 points, 11 rebounds for you in that game. To you, I mean, what do you feel is your key when, I mean, you're always around the ball and rebounding. Is there a particular thing that you try to do or you do often that gets you in the right position to get rebounds?
I just always crash the boards. Anytime anyone shoots, I'm trying to be there as quick as possible and reading where it's going to come off of the rim. Try to at some points, but
And boxing out.
yeah,
I
boxing
hope.
out.
Put a body on people,
Right.
that always works too. And you know, I always laugh at people that think rebounding is tough, but you know, it's you got to be disciplined. You got to do those little things, and you got to also kind of anticipate where the ball's going to go. Sometimes that comes with playing and the instincts of playing the game. But Coach, we only got about a minute, and I want to ask you as well now here. You know, we've talked about the conference with this stretch run, and of course you get the little bonus of the Region 4 tournament is here again at Waubonsee. How much of an advantage you feel like that will be, and you've got a lot of home games here down the stretch leading into the tournament.
Well, as long as we keep taking one game at a time and really work on things that we've been focusing on, you know, reducing turnovers, less offensive rebounds for the opponent, I think it really puts us in good shape so we can get out and go. But definitely being at home, we definitely play better at home than on the road.
That's what I was kind of alluding to. You're 7-3 at home, and you certainly play a lot better for the most part in Erickson Hall. Mo, any last shout-outs you want to say to anybody out there who's watching?
Not really.
Probably True would
Yeah,
be one, right?
probably.
Your
My little sister, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You got to give a plug to little sister. And we're certainly glad that she's watching and glad that everybody else is watching. And thank you guys for coming in and talking a little basketball with us. But we are out of time here on Sports Spotlight. On behalf of our entire crew, Chris Foster, Jamie Lara, and Jim Warning Track Power Magara, I'm Steve Moga. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.